Okay, it is time for a little instant survey. As Barb has said, today is the third week of Advent. The focus is on joy. How many people find it very, very joyful to have to wait for something? Show of hands. Thank you, Jesse. There we go. We have some people that like waiting. That's great to know. I love that about any UU gathering. There's always someone. So, our lives have a lot of times when we have to wait. When we have to wait in line, particularly this time of year, in retail stores that are full up because of the holidays. When we have to wait for a parent to come home to ask if you can go over to a friend's house. How about waiting in line for the school lunch at the school cafeteria, or waiting to get into a doctor's office or dentist even though the time for that appointment has long since passed? And time is so slow, isn't it? When we're waiting for someone that we love to finally come home from college or from their home, which is now so far away. When we're waiting for these holidays, for the solstice, for Hanukkah, or for Christmas, waiting is not always fun, is it? And yet, there is, for those of you who raised your hands, as you know, there is something to be said for waiting for something that is worth waiting for. In this time of Advent, it is time to remember that we are waiting for some kind of hope or promise. In the Christian tradition, which is at the roots of both our Unitarian and Universalist heritages, that waiting is about waiting for a Savior, someone who can come and show people how to live good lives, who knows all the answers, who can rebalance the scales of justice. And in the celebration of Advent, in those 4 weeks, those who are in observance of that tradition light a candle each week in celebration of the core teachings of Jesus, the need for hope, the need for peace, the need for joy, and the need for love. So today, I invite us to ask ourselves some questions. What do we hope for? For ourselves, for those we love, for our country, and for the world? What paths to peace can we commit to, even if they're just small steps on those paths, like not teasing our sister so much, or nagging our partner so much about the trash, or taking out the trash so our partner doesn't have to be nagged? What brings us joy that we can do in this week before us, despite all the other things that are in our world and on our plates? And how do we make love as a verb, a part of our everyday lives? This is a time of year when we have a lot of expectations, a whole range of them, and the kind that is about waiting, the kind that is about wanting some particular thing, and the kind that is about believing that something good is possible. We can expect that a teacher or a leader or a parent or a friend or a president will be our guide star through the worlds of the unknown. We can want them to have all the answers and then be really angry at them when they do not. We can expect ourselves to know things that we do not know, to solve problems we have no idea how to solve. We can expect ourselves to never make mistakes, to be able to predict the unknown future, to be able to navigate that which we have never seen before. And those are all expectations that aren't really all that helpful. In this time, though, when the days are shortest and the dark is longest, when the air is filled with the noise of carols and the lights adorn the houses and cars and even construction equipment, as I noticed this week, we can find ourselves holding another kind of expectation. And it's not the expectation, the waiting for just a thing. It's not about getting that new PlayStation 4 or that new laptop or that auto harp we always wanted to learn to play, or that stuffed animal we fell in love with when we were in line, or that real dwarf hamster we've finally been promised this particular Christmas. It's about something else. It's about the expectation that we are waiting to reconnect with the ideas that the world can be a better place, that more people can be treated fairly and kindly, that those who are treated least fairly can be noticed, and that we can do this because these are the people that our faith calls us to notice too. Now this year, as we all know, the holidays come in a time of unrest in our nation. People are angry and unhappy and taking to the streets to talk about things that aren't fair. And some of us will be, as I said before, responding to that call by taking our faith out into the streets today and being part of the religious response to the verdicts in the trials in Ferguson, Missouri, and Staten Island, New York, and the growing concerns about the mass incarceration of brown and black-skinned people across our nation. We will be answering that call because we've been asked to do so by our partners, because we've been waiting to hear what we are particularly asked to do, and not responding to some of the other protests and calls that have been going on for the last couple weeks. We have been waiting till we are asked by the people we are in relationship to show up. And some of us will. And others will not be able to. So it's important to know that there are other things we're being asked to do. We're being asked in this season to think about how much we buy this Christmas, to think about the fact that our economic system rests on low-wage jobs, which are too often held by the same black and brown-skinned people who are treated differently in our justice system. They are asking us in this time of waiting and discernment to think about adjusting our expectations that way too. And that's probably much more radical and revolutionary than marching in the streets. I love this time of year, and I always have. Maybe because of the lights and the colors, and actually also, I'm one of those people that would have actually raised my hand about the waiting. Because I think this time of waiting gives us a time to think about what we really want for ourselves and for those we love and for our whole world, which has just grown so small. The waiting gives us a chance to step into our biggest dreams. Now here's another quick poll. I'm wondering how many of you have ever laid awake at night after you've turned out the light and just wondered about something. Any wonderers out there? Okay, we have more wonderers than waiters. That's good to know. Or I wonder if on this particular time of year you've taken a walk at night and you've seen the brilliance of the stars, which is just so spectacular this time of year. And you felt in your whole being that sense of awe, that sense that more is possible. That to me is the crown jewel of expectation. What we are waiting for, what we are expecting, what we are working for, you see, is found in the wonderings of each of us, because in our tradition, there isn't going to be a savior. There isn't going to be a single person or being who will come with all the answers. The best we can do is take the little pieces of truth that we each have within us and put them all together. And that is what we believe is the possibility for saving this precious and troubled world, that it's found right here in each of our hearts. Maybe we aren't that patient with waiting, and maybe sometimes we should not be. Maybe sometimes we should be what the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. called divinely discontented. In this particular December, in this run-up to these particular winter holidays, in this particular week of the darkest days of the year, may our expectations be to embrace both our own desires and the deep needs of the world. And may we spend a little time reflecting on the power of expectations of hope and peace, of joy and love. And then, may we wait, expectant, warmed by the dazzling sparks of possibility. And may we live into the words of poet Ryosuke Satori, who said, "Let your dreams outgrow the shoes of your expectations."